the dude, the Dudebringer. So, guys, it is September 14th, 2020, 9:26, 27 a.m. And I just woke up from this bad a dream. I thought it was late at night. I've been trying to do the Doombringer from Black Panther 2, not having success. And I just came out of a dream for a couple of minutes of the Big Lebowski 2. And it's a weird feeling when you know you're doing, in my mind as a director, I know I'm making a movie and the movie's happening. And it was the dude. It was the Dude Bringer. Now in the movie, the story went that the dude was at a casino, not a casino, but it was like a loft. It was like the Overlook Hotel, but not in the snow, out in the desert. It was like the out in the desert, and it was this big kind of sprawling, cool place that had bowling alleys and all this cool place. And the dude, either he owned it or he had a lot of money. And it was cool because I was walking around the beginnings of the Big Lebowski 2. And yes, there was Walter. He had lost weight. There was a Steve Buscemi, which I'm not going to spoil how he was there. Steve Buscemi was there, and it was hilarious. And it was really cool because there was this great moment where the dude's walking in like a steady cam shot around this humongous kind of, I don't know if it's a hotel, I don't know what it was called. It was a humongous kind of the coolest place ever, in the middle of, tumbling weed. Maybe Native Americans helped the dude, I don't know. But he's walking around, and then he gets to this family of people. They're just like sitting around as people are going about their tourism in this place. And the dude's sitting there talking, and they're like, "Oh yeah, and you slept with all these women. That's all I ever needed, man." He was like, like he was like, "Oh, you gotta grow making eyes at you or something." And it was like, "That's all I ever needed, man." And he wasn't looking like the dude that we remember from the Big Lebowski, the beard and the hair and the glasses. He was the dude. He had, grayish hairs. He had grayish hairs. He didn't have long hair. He looked like Beau Bridges kind of. He looked like his brother a little. He looked kind of like a James Cameron, not like James Cameron, like looked like him, but it felt like a James Cameron post Titanic, post Avatar rich. So he's sitting there being all nice and awesome, and everybody, there's this whole steady cam of, dude, they're trying to fuck us, dude, they're trying to ruin our, the conflict is that there's this family, and he asked, "What did I ever do to you guys?" And they're like, "Well, you lost us a lot of money, a substantial amount of money." And as I looked at the dude in this dream moment, I'm like a fan. I felt like I was a fan making the movie, being on it. And the guy's like, "You lost us a lot of money." And he's like, "Haven't you done the 25 cents a day uh, tour or whatever?" Like I used to use 25 cents a day to live off the vending machine. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sure like 25 cents a day." And the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm sure your vending machines make a lot of money here." And that was it. And I saw the face of the dude, which was Jeff Bridges in the thing, and he's kind of like, mm. And he was very sad and hurt for the fact that this time the dude fucked some people over. And it wasn't like the dude from the Big Lebowski where he was like, obviously you're not a golfer. There wasn't a mean bone in his body, a corporate piece of shit bone in his body. He was this cool guy who was so cool. And in the movie, there was an actress from Riverdale, Camila Mendez, and she was just so beautiful in the movie. She was in the movie, and she was playing the piano. There was this cool little piano thing that he built that looked like a dinosaur exhibit kind of scale. And she was like, "Oh, why don't you play this?" And you could tell Camila Mendez is a young girl. She's younger than me, and she was totally giving the dude like, "Oh, this guy's fucking hot," to me. The girls love the dude. He's just old. But he's the dude. And then all of a sudden there was a scene. This was right before he got to the guys. So she's playing a defending Jacob or something, and they're playing. It's funny, they're playing scores from like Netflix movies, and the dude was playing it, and then all of a sudden, like a vacuum busted, and then dust got everywhere, and then her friends were like, "Oh my God, you're so successful," or whatever, and they were making fun of the dude being old, whatever. Steve Buscemi was in it, yes, and he looked visual effects explain why he looked cool, and it was just they were like, Donnie, you're out of your element. Not Donnie, it wasn't a Donnie, but I'll get into it. So anyway, he was just walking, and anyway, the dude was hurt, and I was just feeling the moments of this, like being on set of this Big Lebowski 2. And I realized, holy crap, I already came up with a Big Lebowski 2 and hilarious stories when I went into my fugue states of that I go into of movies. And as I came out of the dream, I realized I got to say the line that was iconic in that I kind of came up and said the line where the dude was sitting there and the guy was like, "Oh man, you fucked us over money wise, whatever." And I just go, "Fuck it, dude, let's go bowling." And then Walter was like, "Hey," and we just walk out the door. And then I woke up, but I had to say it. I just came over and ran over and said it all happy, like a kid in Clerks reunion or something, like Kevin Smith movie. And I was like, "Fuck it, dude, let's go bowling." And I love that he said, "Hey," meaning either it's a PG-13, we can only use one bad word, F, or it was rated R, and this is gonna like we're going on a long journey. But as I started thinking about this, I wanted to just talk to the Coen brothers about The Big Lebowski 2. It's impossible to make it. It's inevitable they will make it, and it's just going to be okay. And I just realized as I was making it, the biggest problem we have with The Big Lebowski is we, as I was looking at the movie, I go, I don't know what that story is of the dude in the future, but he was okay. He wasn't a loser. And this was the moment where he felt like these fucking assholes came into his place, the dude sanctuary or wherever the casino or wherever he lived. Not because it wouldn't be a casino. The dude's not about making money, taking money. It's about giving money. But it was like a hotel where people could come in and it's just this cool little place that was humongous. And the dude owned it with Walter and he had to finance it. And these people, it was like a family, like three or four older, in their, I'll say past the age of 55 already. And they were a family, and he was like, you lost us a lot of money. And they weren't black, they were white, they were cool, Bo Bridgie kind of looking people. It's just hard to explain. They weren't like white, so many people. They were normal family. A normal family you'd see at Disney World or something, and they just hated the dude. And he's like, but oh my God, I lived on 25 cents a day. And he's like, I'm sure your vending machines make a lot of money. And it was just like, it was just, the dude was hurt, and I don't know how to explain it. I've already gone for 8 minutes, but I remember I want to talk about the dude bringer, as I call it, because I call it the doom bringer. I loved just having this dream because it was just ideas. So I know that the Coen brothers have ideas. In a time now where we have coronavirus and we all feel like losers, maybe now is the time to start thinking about doing a Big Lebowski 2. And as I was looking at it, I came up with a Big Lebowski that was years ago that followed up right after the Big Lebowski, in that the dude would have adventures with Walter, in that they uh, they had a money drop. There was a money drop that they had to do again. There was they got into murders. Like they were idiots that they would kind of just imagine in their mind some concoctional story of a girl that's dead on the beach, and they're like, well, maybe it could have been that this and that, and they're like, yeah, look into that. And it was just like, but it's hard to explain. I don't know. I've had some great moments in my own mind imagining what the dude bringer, as I call it, the Big Lebowski 2 would be. Bigger Lebowski, the biggest Lebowski, whatever you would call it. And I miss Jeff Bridges, man. I miss Jeff Bridges being the dude. And I'm so glad that even though it was a dream, that being a part of that moment in the dream as I wake up in a time of coronavirus and, you know, Chadwick Boseman being dead, Naya Rivera, and Morricone, Kelly Preston, all these people. You know, I even had Kill Bill ideas that were great, that had, I just imagined this amazingness. So I can say that movies live on in you. Black Panther will live on. Kids will dream about being in a Black Panther movie. You will dream about these people being dead, and I just loved it. I got to say the great line to him, "Fuck it, dude, let's go bowling." And then Walter just kind of walked up, and said, "Hey, hey." He kind of was like a hey, you know, like a hey. That either could be like, "Not now, the dude's busy with stuff," or "Hey, we don't cuss that much," or it was cool. And "Hey, it's my line." Cool. So the Dude Bringer, I don't know. What would it, like, could we think about it? Would you guys like to think about where could we go with the Dude Bringer, as I call it? Where could we go with the Big Lebowski 2 sequel? Do we do digital de-aging? Do we cast? We can't cast anybody else to be Jeff Bridges. So do we do digital de-aging? Do we show these guys live from the 90s all the way up till now, which is like 20 years, Obama, everything? How does this story work? I don't know, but I want to see it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if the movie is not as funny as The Big Lebowski, which is a comedy masterpiece, a movie I just saw on DVD one day and loved it every minute of. I want to see more of the dude. I want to see more of The Big Lebowski, and I know that two of the some of the actors died that are they're no longer can be in it, but it was just I want to see The Big Lebowski. And I know that the biggest problem we have with it is we have to go back to that time when the dude is broke. We have to go back to that time, and John Goodman doesn't look like that. Uh, Jeff Bridges still kind of can look like that. So how do we get Walter and uh, Jeffrey Lebowski back? I want them back. Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling with it. Great, great. And it's not for kids with the bad words. But as I just woke up and I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna try to put a Big Lebowski 2